Whoa,
She's so
folks,
light.
once again, welcome to Dan and Jan Go Yard from almost coast to coast, from Philly to Denver.
Correct.
And Jan, I'll tell you, we were
Yes.
talking about
Yes,
some
Dan.
interesting stuff. We were talking about some interesting stuff like Shirley McGee. We can start with Shirley McGee.
Shirley
And,
McGee.
because we were talking about him hitting somebody. And I want to get your take on the hardest hit balls that you experienced when you were throwing batting practice for the Rockies. So why don't we start with the guy that hit somebody and go from there?
Well, I found it amazing because my playing days, I played with some pretty good sized dudes. I mean, some big guys.
Yeah.
And when I played on the All Black team, semi pro, that summer of '64, our center fielder he wasn't as tall as Judge, but he was probably 6'5", 6'6", and probably weighed 275. He was a big dude and hit a home run out of a rectangular ballpark over the center field fence across the street on top of a building. Now, minimum it was 500 feet, minimum.
Whoa, whoa.
His name was Buck, and
His name is
but
what?
his name was
Was
Buck. We just
Buck?
called him Buck. Yeah.
Oh, Buck.
Actually, I called him Sir. But um, I marveled when I started throwing for the Rockies. Why is it that these guys, some of whom weren't that big, hit the ball so hard? Compared to other guys who were bigger but didn't. And I would. Oh, by the way, we should talk about throwing in the cages indoors.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Suicide. I hated it. Hated
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But it gave me a chance to stand close right there and watch them because I wasn't shagging. And
Right.
I determined that when a major league hitter hits the ball, if he weighs, let's say, weighs 200 pounds, 200 pounds is behind it.
That's true. Yeah.
Unlike guys who just there's two types of hitting, linear and rotational. And
Okay.
rotational is guys who hit for power and distance. When they
Hmm.
swing, their hips pivot, everything. So they have all their weight behind it. Linear hitters are guys who we don't really have many anymore, who just put the ball in play and try
Yeah,
to
line drives.
use
So,
their speed and whatever. But I determined that's the difference. These guys, when they put the bat on the ball, whatever they weigh is behind it. And
yeah,
that's why they get so much uh, velo off the bat.
right. It's the same with pitching, isn't it? What are they saying with pitching?
No, we shouldn't probably go there right now.
Ah, so soon. I want to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but throwing in the cages,
Hmm.
now the cage, when the Rockies started, we were at Mile High Stadium, old Mile, a football stadium,
Right.
not baseball.
Yeah.
But they had put in these cages underneath the stadium that were primitive, and there were big columns. They made do with what they had. Well,
Yeah.
from where the mound was to home plate, there was like 5 feet behind me, and just a little bit of space behind the guys swinging the bat. So when they would hit the ball,
Ooh.
sometimes it would ricochet off these beams, and I'm trying to hunker down behind the L screen. It was terrible. When I went to the ballpark and it had been raining, I think, oh no, no, we're gonna have to be in the cage. But one of the funniest things that happened, but this when we moved to Coors, they had more state of the art
Right.
hitting cages underneath the stadium, and It was 95. And so I'm going to throw second. And the first group's in, the first group of starters. And one of the guys in that group is Dante Bichette,
Oh yeah.
who loved pine tar.
Oh,
That should be outlawed in humanity. It sticks to everything. But these guys love to cover their, pine tar rag. And anyway,
right.
I'm standing behind the cage and he's hitting. And he finishes up and he could hit. Bichette could hit.
Oh yeah.
He carried Ted Williams' book with him on hitting everywhere. He was
Wow.
the only major league guy I saw with the Rockies that did a lot of tee work. Most guys don't do tee work, but he did. So he comes out of the cage. He's been in there with his pine tar bat. He comes out of the cage, and I'm standing there with my glove on, and he puts his hand up to high five me because I'm going to go in and throw it. So we can't get our hands apart. I pull it apart, and Art Howe, who was you're in, Jan. I'm walking down to the mound, and I could just take a baseball that would stick to my hand. And now I'm supposed to throw BP? I think the Harlem Globetrotters had an old trick where they'd throw the
Yeah.
basketball and they'd come back.
Yeah, I go like that. Yeah.
I thought I'm spitting on my hand. I'm rubbing it on my pants. Anything I can do to get it off my hand, the pine tar. And Art House, look, are you ready? No, I'm not ready. I finally got it off good enough I could throw. But anybody who, held their hand up, I'd go, yeah, good job.
With the pine tar that got George Brett in trouble.
Yes, sirree. And you're not supposed to have, they measure pine tar on a bat by putting it down on the plate.
Yeah.
17 inches. You can't have it higher than 7. I'm sorry. Guys have it up to the trademark. Really? Anyway. But Galarraga, the new cages, hit one so hard up into the ceiling where it's nets, all nets. And I could hear it. It was going as it skimmed along through the netting.
Wow.
And it came right up above me and fell down on my back.
Wow.
He was scary strong.
Who else did he play for? Galarraga.
Who did he play? Atlanta, I think.
Atlanta. I was going to say Atlanta.
I think it was Atlanta.
Yeah. Hey,
you wouldn't meet a nicer, friendlier, happy guy than Andres Galarraga. I think what I admired about him, if he went 0 for 12 or 10 for 12, he was the same guy.
Yeah.
Happy. He was the leader of all the Latin ball players. They just migrated to him.
Yeah.
And good guy to follow. He hit a home run down in Miami. Now, I wasn't there. But when they came back, I saw it. And it wasn't at their new enclosed ballpark. It was whatever the old one was.
Yeah.
It was out left. And it went up on top of whatever the highest deck was, roof up there. And right after that series, they came back to Denver. So I'm out there, and guys, a couple of the coaches said to me, that ball was hit further than any ball in Major League history, but they wouldn't count it.
Why not?
Well, they said nobody wanted to take it away from Mickey Mantle. I don't know. The home run was gargantuan. And,
he was a brutal hitter, man.
he was he probably weighed, I'd guess Galarraga tipped in at 260. He was probably 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
I think I told you he's the only guy who ever hit one back to that state of the RL screen, and it tipped it back on me. I had to catch it and put it back up.
Wow.
Um,
Amazing.
he was so powerful. When the Rockies started in '93 at Mile High Stadium, I didn't start with them when they started. I didn't start till a couple months in, but I had gotten season tickets,
Right.
and the first game, my I took my Danny, my daughter, she and I went, and but one of the left-handed pitchers who had pitched at BYU, they're doing BP now. It's a makeshift baseball field because it was a football field. Center field
Right. Right.
was nothing. There was a fence, but then there was the parking lot. And a radio station here in Denver, KOA, had put this opening day, first day of Major League Baseball. They had put this giant 20-foot gorilla, inflatable gorilla, out over the center field fence, beyond the fence. And they were doing promotions out there and whatever. So Galarraga steps in to take some BP, and this guy that from the pitcher foolishly thinks, I was pretty tough in college. I'm going to see if I can blow one by him. So he cuts one loose, It went over the center field fence and hit the gorilla, which had to be 475,
Wow.
Well, stupidly he thinks, okay, that was lucky. And at Old Mile High Stadium, we had the south stands for football. They kind of were famous around here. And it was a long tier of seats that went up. So he cuts another one loose. And Galarraga hits the top row of the south stands.
Wow.
And
Wow.
okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah, I saw Walker hit a home run in BP. Now, okay, it's BP.
Right.
But is that any different than hitting a changeup or no?
No.
And he hit one at Coors that was up on the very end section, top section of the second deck. Now, I don't know how far that would have gone.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It would have gone a long way. This is priceless. I'm shagging, and it's my turn to come in, and Walker's the last guy hitting in the group ahead of me. And the ushers would come in before the fans, and they'd walk through the stands, make sure stuff was cleaned up and everything was good to go.
Yeah.
So there's an usher in right field, gentlemen. He's coming down the stairs toward the field. And Walker hits a rope and, hits the guy in the head.
Oh.
The usher.
Oh.
However, the usher acts, boom. He kind of goes like this, and then he bounced off into the seats, and he starts walking down the stairs again. And Art Howe is saying it's not your fault. No, that was an accident. They go into this physics discussion of trajectory and impact, and here's the ushers walking down the. Yeah,
Whoa.
That was. I don't know how it didn't hurt that guy, but
yeah, it's weird. Was he wearing a hat? Maybe he was wearing a hat.
No, he wasn't wearing a hat.
Oh, whoa!
I think it glanced, and I don't think he knew what happened because he's looking at spine. Walker hit you. Okay, dude. Whatever. And
yeah.
I was I represented a sports artist for a while named Malcolm
Okay.
Farley, who's famous sports artist. And anyway, he had painted a picture of Walker because he won the MVP or I think in '97 maybe he was the
Hmm.
MVP. He could hit for power. I think he's the most talented Rocky to ever play.
Walker.
Huh?
Walker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was five tools. I mean, he had a gun of an arm. He um, had he could obviously hit for power. He could
Hmm.
hit for average. He wasn't fast, but he was a super smart base runner,
Hmm.
and he could catch. And he had this. I don't know why more guys don't do it. They take BP and then the last hit they run it out.
Yeah. Okay.
So he would practice on hitting a ball into the outfield and not looking at the bases.
Oh.
He would round first base and he had geared himself so he could watch the ball hit second base and go to third. Most guys hit the ball, boom, they start focusing on second base
Right.
and then third. But that's how he would get extra bases because he was watching what was happening in the outfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've heard, some guys they learn to focus on the flagpole. You run and watch the flag. You don't want to focus on the base.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah, but you can't miss the base.
no. But
Yeah.
they just got them. I don't know if it was steps or whatever, but he would do that.
Well, that's why I was not focusing on the background when it got smaller during our broadcast.
I know.
And
When
when I
you're
focused on it, then when I focused on it, it got bigger.
yeah, it's the Walker effect.
The Walker effect. Now, wait a minute. Before we started recording,
We're not recording.
no, we are recording.
I know.
Before we started recording, we
Yeah.
were talking about Sherry McGee.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now,
Shirley,
Philadelphia Phillies.
right.
But you had an interesting story about him, and I, I, I want to hear it again.
Well, I saw a thing on him, and I migrated toward it because, like I told you earlier, because we both have girls' names, supposedly.
Right.
Um, anyway, he was apparently a very hard-nosed, aggressive, good baseball player, but had a temper. And I believe it was 1910. Um, because he would get in fights with his own teammates, other players. He was volatile. And he struck out. He got on a third strike and he started to the dugout, dropped his back, went back, and knocked out the umpire. And they tossed him for the rest of the year or whatever. And he came back and played, but then what are the odds? He ultimately became an umpire and apparently a good one in the bigs.
Yeah, because he knew balls and strikes, as opposed to the guy who called him out and he had the deck.
Well, and who's going to argue with him?
That's true.
That wasn't a strike. Yes, it was. I mean,
They have the ABS. They have the ABS system that takes care of that.
yeah.
And from a pitching perspective, you may like that, right? I mean, you say, "Hey, look, that was a strike," and
Well, as a pitcher, you've got a pretty good perspective of the strike zone and where the
yeah,
pitch was.
yeah.
Um, I'm thinking if Shirley had been behind the dish and the guy went, no, tough, we're not doing it. I mean, I don't know.
So,
Anyway, it was an interesting article about somebody I had never heard of, but like I said,
yeah, I was aware of him.
because of the names. I had one. I will regret this to the end of my days. The Rockies had a young kid. I don't know. He was either from Mexico or the Dominican. His name was Roberto Mejia, And
Mm,
when they brought him up, he was 19, and he wasn't very big, but he looked like he was carved out of stone. And the kid, he was talented. I mean, he had a gun of an arm, but I think he felt it'd be like when I was 19, you drop me in Mexico City and tell me to play baseball, and I know,
right.
hola, that's the extent of it. Um, so I think he felt intimidated because
Mm,
he's in the big leagues. He didn't speak English, and so Galarraga was a close friend. And anyway, I was stupid, and I don't know what year this was. Maybe 96, 7, something like that. And I don't know why, because it's really not my nature, but I found him irritating.
really?
Yeah. And he,
Was it the wool uniform that made you get irritated?
I don't, maybe it was my name, a girl's name. I know, I don't know. He was very, and I understand now, he was very isolated. He stayed by himself and everything. And he, he stepped in to hit one day, and they all, most of them, wanted to hit home runs during VP. And he wasn't a big guy. Well, I knew, whether it was him or anybody else, if I if they're trying to pull everything, he was right-handed. If they're trying to pull everything into the left field bleachers, all I have to do is sit on the outside half of the plate, and it
You're
ain't.
right.
So he steps in to hit one day, and I don't know why I was just, and it's on me. I was irritated with him, and he's trying to hit the ball into the seats. So I'm buzzing him on the outside, and all he's doing is hitting ground balls. And he's getting really irritated. And I knew he would start leaning in to get to that outside pitch.
Right.
I let him, he starts leaning over there to go get it. And then I bust one up and in on him. And he fouls it straight up into the cage. Now, what possessed him to do this, I don't know. But no, this was at Mile High Stadium, so it must have been 93. He fouls it straight up into the cage, and he looks up. It comes down and hits him right here, cuts his cheek open.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
And I think we were playing the Cardinals, and they're all outside their dugout waiting to come onto the field. He grabs his face, scream. I mean, it cut him pretty good. He's screaming and starts running to the clubhouse, which at Mile High was down the left field line,
oh God.
like he'd been shot by Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he disappears into the clubhouse. And, all the Cardinals are looking around. And I thought, well, I'm probably done. They're going to let me go. And he was like next to the last hitter or something. So I finish up and go to the clubhouse. And he's in there in the dressing room area, and he's got this huge ice bag on his eye. And oh, we had a relief pitcher, Willie something, a great kid from North Carolina. So and I can't communicate with him, because he doesn't speak English, and I know just enough Spanish to be dangerous. Que pasa? Well, I got cutting. So Willie Blair walks up.
Willie Blair. I remember Willie Blair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're looking, and I said, I tapped me on this. Are you okay? And I mean, he didn't know I did that on
Right.
purpose. And Willie says, Jan, it's okay. It was an accident. You didn't mean to do it. Right, I didn't. So they go on the road to Mets, going to play the New York Mets. The game's on the tube the next night. So I'm watching, and it's later in the game, and Baylor calls on Mejia to be a pinch hitter. So he grabs a bat and then he walks up and he's got this huge scar or, thing on his face. And I thought, how stupid was I? I did that. You know, I that was terrible. I should never. Of course, I had no idea he was going to foul it straight up and it'd come down
Right.
in the face.
I thought you were going to say on the way down he hit it out.
I would have had that coming.
I don't know.
He looked up and it got him in the face.
So how did he do it against the Mets?
He didn't. It's too bad because he truly, I don't know much power, but he was a good ball player. He was fast. He had a gun of an arm from third. He could field. He was 4.5 to a guy. I mean, I just don't think the timing was right. I don't think he could overcome.
Mm-hmm.
If he had been 22 or something, he might have adjusted better.
Yeah.
He was so young, and I think it was just overwhelming to him, and he didn't last long.
It's interesting to me because now I think almost every team has a Spanish translator on the bench.
Sure, yeah. Well, most Latin ball players speak baseball.
Yeah. That I get.
Pelota, but they know bunt, squeeze, they know the basic terms. But and they do way better than I would do in Venezuela. But
well, I know the Phillies have a translator. I mean, for the guys.
And now Japanese
too. Japanese.
I know nothing in Japanese, but I tried to be
Konnichiwa.
Sayonara. I know
Sayonara. Yeah.
But I tried to be an agent for a couple of years, sports agent.
Really?
Stupid. Because I had baseball contacts with the Rockies.
Sure.
And I was a good friend with the Denver University hockey coach here at the time, George Wazdecki. So I was going to do hockey baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So a buddy of mine who's fluent, there's a difference between formal Spanish and street Spanish.
Right.
And Jack was fluent in street Spanish. So he came aboard and we went the first year I was doing it. We went to Arizona to sign ball players. And the first 10 guys we signed were all Latin. And I'm, hola. And he's just talking to them and they're laughing and they're having a good old time. Well, part of the problem ultimately was, buying things for them. And then I discovered they were selling them. Gloves, cleats, stuff like that.
Right.
But we were walking, we'd gone to a mall and there were about 6 of them and Jack and me. And we're walking by a Radio Shack. And the one kid, Valario, he's kind of hanging back and he's looking in the Radio Shack. So I'm kind of hanging back with him and he goes in. So I go in with him. The girl working there speaks no Spanish. And he wants a, a music box thing that they would. Boombox. And so they're trying to communicate. And it's not, he knows, he points to it and they put it up on the counter and he pulls out some cash and it's $80. Now I know 8 in Spanish, ocho. Jack, I could just say this to him and he would burst laughing. So we're trying to communicate and he's looking and and I said, it's 880. He goes, what is that? So I just grab his money and peel it off and give it back to him. 880.
Oh gosh, you said something a couple minutes ago or less that that is one of those things that I've been wondering about for a couple of years now. Because growing up, to me, you had your glove, you have your ball, you had your spikes.
Right.
Okay. All of a sudden now you have your glove, you have your ball, you have your cleats.
Hmm.
So uh, now I know the difference between a spike and a cleat. Okay.
Hmm.
Cleat is in football. It's more triangular. It's a little wider. It's like a cup almost, right? Goes down.
And it ain't metal.
Spikes. What's that? And
It ain't, it ain't
it is
metal.
not metal. No, it's not metal.
Yeah.
Spikes are more like that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And they're metal. But I hear announcers saying cleat. I heard you mentioned it also. When did that start to happen?
I'm guessing here, but I'm guessing it had to do with artificial turf.
Really?
You can't wear metal spikes on artificial turf. You got to wear cleats because
Really?
cleats are plastic, and
Yeah, yeah.
the metal spikes would just
Rip them up.
tear it up. Yeah, I'm guessing, but um,
So do a lot of guys that you know wear cleats or spikes? Or does it depend on the
well,
stadium?
they all have 25 pairs of shoes,
Right.
so it depends probably on where they're playing. If it's natural grass, they're going to be wearing spikes. If it's artificial turf, they'll wear cleats.
See, I could see the outfielders wearing on artificial turf cleats, but the infielders wearing spikes.
Well, and that could be for some guys. As I got older, I moved away from spikes and went to cleats because they didn't hurt my feet as bad. You know, when you're running around on metal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that ain't that pleasant sometimes.
No, but there is that sound of walking down the tunnel,
Oh yeah, click, click, click. Yeah,
with spikes. And
right.
it's like, okay, the baseball player's coming in now. I can,
Well, and the other thing that um, I got in trouble with was batting gloves.
oh,
I,
yeah, yeah.
back in the day, nobody wore batting gloves,
Uh-uh.
and um, and I still don't know exactly why they have to, but whatever. Um, so when I my first year of being trying to be a sports agent, that was 98. I went down to spring training, Rocky spring training, and Hurdle was the hitting coach there. And so, hey, come out come out and watch us hit and blah, blah, blah. And I get there and he goes, did you bring your gear? And I said, no, I'm not. He laughed. He goes, I know you're here for something else. But Ellis Burks is getting ready to, take BP. And I loved Ellis. I just really, really liked him. And he's getting ready and he's adjusting his gloves, putting them on. And they knew I was 5 days older than water even then. And I said, back in the day, nobody wore gloves.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't mean that as a put down, or maybe I did, but it offended him.
really?
Yeah. And I said, look at Grace. He doesn't wear gloves. And
Right.
and he, yeah. I said, but it's a good idea now. I mean, I get it. But
Never wore gloves. Never
no,
had that stuff on your arm or
no,
they didn't have the flaps on the thing. It
no,
was like
no.
combat. You go into combat, and if you get hit, you get hit. If
And if
somebody
you
gets you
played
beat,
center field, third base, or first, well, not so much first base, everybody kind of had the same size glove. Oh, no,
yeah,
not
yeah,
now.
no,
Infielders, 10, 11-inch, outfielders, 14-inch,
yeah,
you know. And again, that's okay, but you and I had one glove and that was it for life.
that's it. And look at that one right there.
Yes. Yeah.
That Look at the catcher's mitt right there.
Look at that. Can you imagine catching 100-mile-an-hour fastball with that thing?
No, no.
You'd be in the hospital.
Yeah.
My
Nolan Ryan. Yeah.
this is priceless. My senior year in high school, I was throwing really hard and probably 88 to 90, right in there.
Wow.
And my catcher, who was a dear friend, a good friend, he had heard, which I think did actually happen back in the day, that you could put a piece of raw steak in your glove, the
I
catcher,
heard that. Yeah. Yeah.
and catch it
Yeah.
before they discovered falsies. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he does this. We're playing a game at home at GW, and he before the game he goes, look at this, look at this. I got a piece of raw steak, and he's got it in plastic, and okay, cool. So the game begins, and they're up first, the other team, and I pretty much just threw heat. So he puts down a one, and whoom, I cut one loose, and you can hear. And all this gooey mush flies out of his glove. Well, and of course the umpire went, what was that? And there's meat laying around so we had to call timeout, delay because he had to clean it. He only had the one glove. He had to clean the glove out. And yeah.
I thought that you threw it so hard that you cooked it.
I blew it up. Meat. Yeah, that was and then he heard somewhere that falsies were good for that, so he put a
falsies. Yeah, right in the cup.
Right. And now their gloves don't need that.
But. Yeah, their gloves. It's technology. Everything is called technology.
It is.
It doesn't matter what it is. A new pair of pants. It's a special technology, right? But it's like, yeah, but baseball. I get it. They have the gloves, but I got my A2000.
The best Wilson A2000.
Yeah, the best glove ever, and it's still the best glove ever, and it's 40 or 50 years old. And I said it in another podcast that when I walked into the Phillies clubhouse, Dave Cash looked at it and he went, "Wow, that's a great glove."
Oh yeah,
because it was broken in. I got to find somebody to restring it. The guy who was restringing it, the shoe repair, closed down. So I got to find somebody else to restring it, but I will.
Yeah, we'll take it to the Phillies. They'll do it.
Yeah, I'll call them because I know they're looking for a 78-year-old center fielder.
Why not? You could show up and say, anybody who wants to touch this glove, it's a restring it.
Right.
And guys know how to do it. It's lickety split, boy.
Yeah. They just with a needle, needle rawhide. So
yeah.
To me, when you look at an old glove, it's like an old pair of shoes. They're so comfortable that it takes a long time to break in a glove.
It does. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it, but I used my high school glove when I got it in high school. It was an A2000, and I used it through college. Then I used it in the semi-pro. Then I used it in the over 30 league. And we were playing in the over 30 league. And, I've got it right there. It was getting worn out.
Yeah.
So I threw a pitch. Guy hits a line drive back in. Boom, I catch. Well, the ball's sticking through the web about like this.
Yeah.
And I thought, I got to get a new glove. So I bought another new A2000.
Yeah, they're the best. And I have so many gloves. I mean, I know this is weird, but I have trouble throwing out old gloves.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if those gloves were given away at the ballpark as a promotion.
Yeah.
It says Phillies on it, and it's mostly plastic and whatever. But It's a glove.
Yeah, it's a baseball glove and it needs to be saved.
Yeah, it needs to be safe. Just like the balls, all the balls. I can't throw out the balls. And I got a ball downstairs. It looks like it's been through 20 games and, you
Sure.
know, crapped all over it, but I can't throw it out. Something wrong
No,
with
no, and you shouldn't. You
it.
shouldn't
No,
throw.
I know.
And that ball in the picture I told you, that's from
That one there, folks.
this one right here. It's
Yeah,
from Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's signatures on it, and I cannot read them. They're just too faded. I mean, this ball's older than I am.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
That's,
42.
you mean they're 55?
I'm sorry, what?
They're older than 55?
I think so. This says, "Hi, old timer. You know, I need to take this to somebody who would be an expert in
Yeah.
deciphering these names."
Well, the AI could figure it out. They take a picture, put it in AI, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, their names all over it. So,
Really?
yeah.
I have one over here that's a replica. Let me see. Let me. Oh, I just dropped everything over there. But this is a replica, Sports Illustrated replica of the, I don't know, you can see it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, and it's got, oh, World Series.
Ooh, stop.
It's 2008. It's the
Oh,
team.
look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
It's signed by all the members of the 2008 Phillies. Wow.
Super.
Yeah, and I have it. Well, I should have brought them with, but I mean, I collect bats and balls and all that other
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
signed bats and balls. I get some really cool ones, you know. Uh, and actually, for a promotion for one of my companies, which is called Goldberg, Strunk and Levy, I gave away baseball bats that said Goldberg, Strunk and Levy,
Oh, cool.
and they were what do you call it? Louisville Sluggers. They're
Yeah.
real ones, full size, the whole bit.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty good.
I mean,
Nobody,
there's,
nobody messed with me when I was holding my premium.
and
Yeah.
there's nothing like baseball memorabilia.
Oh yeah.
No other sport, um, the memorabilia just doesn't
No,
stack up.
it doesn't. Baseball
Baseball cards and
cards.
baseballs and bats. I mean, people will kill each other in the stands for baseball.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me that they do that when you think about. I was at a Phillies game and a ball. I was sitting in the stands. I guess it was left field, and I think it was a home run. It was I was either sitting right in home run territory or off, so it might have been a foul ball, but I don't think it was. I think it was a home run, and it bounced in the stands, and there was an older woman. This is a long time ago, so she was probably
Right.
younger than me now,
Yeah,
but it went under her seat, and she's looking around, and I look around, and I see it, and I just grab it.
sure.
So I got this ball
Right.
until all those people in the stand started booing me
You
and yelling at me,
stole
"Give
it.
it to the woman! Give it to
Oh,
the woman!" And I
yeah.
went, "Well, people take them away from me, but all right, I gave it to the woman."
Yeah. Well, maybe your grandson has it. It
Yeah,
means
maybe her grandson. But I was sitting, and I may have mentioned this before, at Connie Mack Stadium had the loge boxes, and Duke Snyder.
hmm,
This was when Richie Ashburn was playing and everybody else. Duke Snyder hit one right at me, fell right there, right below me, and the guy behind me grabbed it and took it. Now, why
and
didn't I yell at him?
yeah, you should have booed him.
Yeah, I know, but I was like 8 or something.
Yeah, that makes it.
Yeah. So people go jump over people for foul
They
balls.
do. They
They get
do.
in fights over it. It's like it's crazy.
It is. It's even from a nobody like me when I would, you know, toss them into the crowd. I told you about hitting that girl, but
Yeah.
mm, it's a baseball. They don't care where it came from. You
And the
know,
thing is, it says official Major League Baseball,
stop it.
right? And that is like that's it. That's
Yeah,
it. This one
that,
is Bud Selig.
that's
They
it. Is that? Oh yeah,
see,
yeah, yeah.
but we used to have National League baseballs and
Right.
American League baseballs.
Absolutely. Blue and red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
signed by the president of the league,
Right.
Bill Giles or whomever was.
Now feel that ball. Feel how there aren't seams.
I'm moving to background. I have stuff back there, but
That's all
uh,
right.
yeah, I know. Um, this is the way it works, folks. This is the way it works.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes us human.
feel the ball.
Well, a major league ball,
Smells
uh,
great.
yeah, and it doesn't have prominent seams
No, it does not.
like high school, college. They've
Right.
got more, which is a good thing. Can you imagine some of the hooks these guys would throw if they had
Oh
real
man.
seams to grip? But when I first started throwing BP, that was the first thing I noticed. And these balls, the balls they put in BP aren't rubbed down; they're slick,
Yeah.
like this one. And I could only throw four seam
Mm,
fastballs, and it was like throwing an egg because it was so
yeah.
slick. And that took some adjustment. I had to really think about clamping down on the ball more because I just couldn't really feel the seams.
Well, it's interesting. That's why pitchers throw balls out, isn't it? If the seams are too high, they go like,
Okay, there's a good point, and this is so you throw a pitch, guy hits a ground ball to second, he's thrown out at first. They throw the ball out. Not if I'm pitching. I want a scuffed ball.
right.
That's gonna first I can grip it better, and second, it's gonna maybe get a little more movement. But
Yeah.
these guys, there's a funny story. Remember, I mentioned Jocko Conlon last time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great ump.
Great, yeah, maybe the greatest. And I remember him telling a story of, and I have no idea who the pitcher was, but ball had been fouled off, and so Jocko throws out a new ball to him, and he no throws it. So he throws out another one, and no. So Jocko comes around from behind the plate, walks out in front of the plate, and dumps the baseballs in front of the plate and says to the guy, "Pick one."
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
but
It yeah.
yeah, it's that was a real adjustment to feel no seams because I'd grown up with
Yeah.
seams, and
Yeah.
and man, if it got scuffed, ooh, mama. So if it's scuffed on this side, I mean that's the essence of a spitball.
Yep.
You wet one side of the ball, and that wet spot grabs the air,
Mm.
and oh, it was an announcer for the Rockies. I can't remember his name. Anyway, I was before a game at Coors, and he came out on the field and he's walking around, and I'm warming up to throw, and it was kind of he walks up and he goes, he doesn't hi, it was George something. He goes, "You want to know how to throw a spitter?" Because he'd been a pitcher. I kind of knew, but I said, "Yeah, sure." So he takes the ball out of my hand and he spits on, you want to spit on a good side here. He says, "Then you throw that facing And when it starts rotating, that wet spot grabs the air. I thought, I don't think I'm going to use these in BP. Oh, you up now? Try and hit this. So I showed it because I had a pitching business for 18 years. And I had
Right.
a kid that was a really top drawer high school pitcher and a character. He was just a character. So I said, we were finishing up, and I said, you want to know how to throw a spitter? And he goes, yeah. So I had him wet that side of the ball.
Right.
He throws it. I'm not kidding. The ball goes up and goes straight down.
Wow.
And he goes, whoa. And I said, okay, if you throw this in a game and you get caught, I will deny even knowing you, let alone having worked with you. So he comes back the next week. And I said, tell me you did not throw that in a game. He said, no, but I threw it in batting practice. Nobody could touch it.
Wow. Wow.
So it's, but you know, those guys, Gaylord Perry comes to mind. They had a way of, there was I'm sure you remember him, Lou Burdett,
Oh, of course.
drew for the,
Yeah, the Braves.
yeah.
Uh,
Nobody could figure out,
Buell, what?
nobody could figure out how he loaded the ball.
He probably had something in his pants.
No, well, when he retired, he told him
What did he say?
the bill of his cap was soaked with water.
Wow.
And nobody, you know, he'd go, well, he was getting the moisture and putting it on the ball.
Right.
Yeah. So
Wow.
they had, you know, a lot of ways. And look how that's even changed. Back in those late 90s, you couldn't go to your mouth unless you were off the round. Look now. That's gone by the boards.
Yeah.
All they require is you touch your pants. So I do this with these two fingers, then I go down here and wipe off my ring and little finger.
Okay.
Pretty,
Lou
but
Burdett. That's when they had Warren Spahn, Bob Buell, and Lou Burdett on the Braves.
yeah.
That was a great pitching staff.
Oh, yeah. Spahn he was one of those huge kickers.
Yeah.
And he threw an exhibition game here when I was a kid and I got to go watch it. They
So
came,
I think he won 312 games, maybe more. He won a lot. He won a lot.
you
He's in the
know,
hall.
you know, we'll never have another 300 game.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I'm going to ask you about pitch count. I do not like it, the pitch count. Don't understand it. I don't get it. I know it's about money, you know, it's their investment in this player. But if Robin Roberts could pitch a doubleheader, you know, if I know that, oh God, we were doing Nolan Ryan, he doesn't like the pitch count. He
Oh,
never
no,
liked the pitch count.
he
I
averaged way over
understand
100 pitches a game. Yeah, it's well, I'm thinking probably late 90s, maybe mid 90s. They started this process, certainly in college, probably some in high school, moving forward, 5 and dive. Just go 5 innings, because that's where you got to go 5 to get the win.
Right.
5 and dive. So I go 5 innings, let somebody else pick it up, finish it. Of course, it's risking my win if I'm ahead, but
That's the problem.
I don't get the loss. And so yeah, I think it's, but in my mind, part of that is quite a few moons ago, we quit teaching mechanics. It's just throw hard. And more guys are hurt all the time.
It's true. It's true.
And it's not their fault. They're just taught to throw hard. Okay.
Yeah.
There's only two ways that you can increase speed on a fastball. One is arm torque, and the
Right.
other is holding on to the ball longer. Now we're talking a second, half a second, a quarter of a second.
Right.
that makes the difference. Well, guys aren't doing that. What they're doing is increasing arm toss. If you see pitchers come set and they're here.
Right.
I was a huge hands guy.
Hmm.
What do you do with your hands as a pitcher? At least in my mind, your hands should be set in front of your chest. When you
Right.
when you kick this leg up,
Hmm.
it should come above your waist so you can get balanced. And then when that leg starts forward, guess what? So does your glove. They
Yeah.
have to go together. Now, if I want to shorten a guy's arm stroke, which I could do very easily, I put his hands down by his waist. And
All right.
instead of being like this, they're like this. Now, if I have my hands like this, when I break, what's this hand do? It tends to go back like this. If I have my hands like this, what does it do? It tends to go down. So if I have my hands already at my waist and I break them, it's going to go down and I can easily shorten the arm stroke.
Oh.
And
Oh.
shortening the arm stroke, I increase the arm stroke. So that puts ungodly pressure on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Because at midpoint, you better have your elbow in front of your wrist.
Now,
And
does that increase Tommy John surgery?
oh, sure. If I'm at the midpoint and my arm's like this, and I come through, I mean, I'm arm throwing.
Yeah.
Forget my body. I'm just arm throwing in the press. It's not natural to throw this 5.25 ounce pelota 100 miles an hour.
Right.
That's not natural. You better be doing it right. And, but that's, it's just, you should stride 90% of your height. You don't see guys doing that. If you see a pitcher, watch when you're watching a game and maybe they show a slow motion of the guy throwing and whatever. And when he's throwing a fastball, if his back leg is push off, if he's right-handed, if his right foot, when he starts forward toward the plate, if he picks it up, if it's coming off the ground, that's what should be happening. If it drags on the dirt, he's just arm throwing. He's not pushing with that back leg.
It's interesting because I find that there are so few finesse pitchers anymore.
Well, they're not that. They don't want that. I mean, would Maddox even be drafted today if they went and scouted him? No, he wouldn't.
No. Robin Roberts, finesse guy. Lots of guys, even Bob Buell.
You could go through a draft of Hall of Fame pitchers who would not be drafted.
Correct.
Because they don't throw 95 plus. So it's back to the pitch count thing. I think it's just part of what's happened to pitching, which has become throwing. And, I think it was 95. I don't know if I told you about this kid. The Rockies called up a kid from AAA. His name was Mike, and I'll leave it at that. He was lefty, 6'6", and they called him up as a reliever. And he, I don't know how else to describe it. I watched him throw, and he looked like an exploding spider. He was just all over. And the taller you are,
yeah,
the harder it is to get your mechanics compact. I think 6 feet, 6'2" for me is the perfect size for a pitcher. But anyway, so his mechanics, he had no mechanics. It was just kaboom. And they bring him in a game and he gets lit up. And I don't know, a few games later, somehow he found out I worked with pitchers. I never broadcast that at the ballpark because that isn't right. They had a pitching coach.
Right.
I'd worked with some of the guys off season, and he came up to me. I was getting loose, and he walks up, really nice kid, and he says, I used to be able to throw 96, 97. I can't do it anymore. And I said, okay. And so I said, well, do you throw your 2 and 4 seamer the same? And he goes, yeah. And I said, no. What? I said, the 4 seamer, that tends to stay true, straight. 4 seams cut in the air for whatever reason, it stays true. I said, 2 seamers, and there are a variety of them, you want movement out of those. And,
Yeah.
sink could cut something. Maddox could cut the ball both ways, inside out.
Hmm.
All he did was offload his 4 seamer.
Oh,
That's how anyway. So I said, try jamming it back in your hand a little bit when you throw it. Oh, okay. So didn't work. Didn't work. Houston came to town and they just beat his brains in. But I had told him I didn't have the heart to say your mechanics look like an exploding spider. So I said, when you come set on the mound and you kick up and start to the plate, think of one word, just one word, smooth. Be smooth to the plate. Because if you are, you'll throw harder than you ever would trying to throw hard.
right.
Okay. Well, they send him packing back to the AAA. And we don't see him the rest of the year. And that fall, he calls me he was in fall ball down in Arizona. And he says, you know something? I just want to thank you because I told him if you have to, write it on the bill of your cap, smooth, smooth. Think about being smooth. He said that was the greatest piece of advice. I had guys down here telling me to do this and do that. And he said that smooth really helped me.
That's great.
And they let him go. He signed with the White Sox. He never made it back to the big side. I think that he might have gone independent ball, but
It's a shame.
that's part of what I don't understand. You've got a 6'6" lefty with a gun of an arm. Would it not behoove me to work with him to make him into a pitcher? I would think.
Yeah. I think the Phillies had a guy like that they got I think it was the Cliff Lee trade when they traded Cliff Lee to Seattle or wherever he went. Because they got him from Cleveland and then they traded him and then they got him back. But there was a guy like that. Oh, I always thought about him. His last name was Omand, and he was a big dude that could throw hard. And I don't understand why they couldn't, get him to be smoother, or maybe. I mean, there was something in his mechanics or whatever, but I always admired him. It was like I was always waiting for him to be
Yeah.
great. It's one of those things. And another thing that I don't understand, or maybe I thought that there'd be more problems with it, is rotator cuff problems.
Right.
You would think the guys would have more rotator cuff separation.
Well, I think over 25% of major league pitchers now have had arm surgery. Now, there's a big difference if you get Tommy John surgery, that UCL ligament, you will be able to come back and they just move a ligament from your wrist or whatever. You're going to be able to probably throw as hard as you did. That ain't going to happen with rotator or labrum. Labrum is bad in the back.
Right.
So those guys, I used to throw 97 and I had rotator. Well, you're not going to throw 97 anymore.
Mm-mm.
You better learn to pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You better develop a change and a hook and I don't know, whatever. But And splitters, I mean, that's a hugely popular pitch. Remember when we grew up, it was called a fork ball.
Yes.
So what's the difference between a splitter and a fork ball? This is a fork ball. You tuck your thumb.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me try that.
This is a splitter. You move
Okay.
this out here, but the thumb's underneath. The problem, at least as I saw it, is this weighs 5¼ ounces.
Mm-hmm.
So when I throw a four seamer, I got my hand behind it.
Right.
It's all right there. It's behind it. Now I load up a splitter. Now I throw it. I'm not throwing 500. It's coming out here.
Right.
The torque on my arm is the same.
Huh.
It would be like kind of throwing a pitch without throwing a pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a tough pitch on your arm, but it's, Clemens made a ton of money for him. I think Jack Morris was the first one to really
Yeah.
develop the splitter.
Jack Morris.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good pitcher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And his splitter was gravy for him.
Yeah.
That was the first. That's the hardest. I think most hitters would tell you, other than 105-mile-an-hour fastball, I think most hitters would tell you the most difficult pitch to hit is one that drops, because you can't tell that when you're swinging.
And
It comes up and goes down.
Steve Carlton had a slider, right?
Yeah.
Steve Carlton had a slider. Listen, Jan, this has been a great digging for gold episode, and for all.
Dan and DanandJanGoYard.
Oh, wait, I said the wrong thing.
It's okay.
You edit that out, because that's the other podcast. This is DanandJanGoYard. My brain is like totally screwed up now.
Well, you're being honored soon, so that's
You have been on Digging for Gold. People
I have actually first time.
Yeah. But this has been a great DanandJanGoYard, and it's episode number 3. And for all the pitchers out there, right? Well, you learned a lot today. And you know what? I may get on the mound again, Jan. I think I got a text from the Phillies. They say, we know what you're doing right now. Get the heck out here and start throwing.
And tell them you'll do it if they will restring your glove.
That's true. That's true. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So listen, folks. Jan, that was great. Great pitching. What's the term I'm using?
Acumen.
Episode, but also a tutelage. Great pitching tutelage. Okay, and now I don't know what to throw when I go over to the ballpark, but whatever it's going to be good. Okay.
Yeah, because you. To be honest, I'm old school. That's not what they teach now. What I just was talking about is old school, but I figured if it was good enough for some of the great old pitchers, it's probably good enough. But again, the kids aren't being taught that. So
yeah, it's a shame, because
c'est la vie.
Change the game. C'est la vie. So, folks, don't forget, tune in next time on DanandJanGoYard. I got it right this time. For episode 4. Jan, thanks so much.
Oh, Dan, it's always a blast.
Yeah, it is a blast. It is. I got to admit it. And folks, we'll see you next time on Dan and Jan Go Yard. See y'all.
Adios.
Adios. And that, are you sure you want to stop recording? Yes.